Hi everyone, and welcome to TWF NXT. I, Mike today with Jim Ross and Booker T here. And today on NXT we have Father Yule here today, or Grandfather Cold here today on NXT. You know, we're getting ready for the end of the year, and we do know that Yule time will soon be here too on the 25th, Mike today says. So that's why we got Father Yule or Grandfather Cold here today on NXT, Mike today says. Yes, we do, Jim Ross says. Just let you know, Mike, we got Father Yule in the ring here, and we know Yule's coming up for us Christendom folk, and the gathering of lights are coming up for you Jewish folk out there, and the gathering of followership's coming up for you non-Christian and black folk out there, Jim Ross says. I'll tell you one thing right now, Booker T says. Father Yule, you have to onlook him, because every time he gets in a wrestling ring, no need which wrestling business it is, he's getting his rear handed to him. Very rarely has he won a match, and most of the time he's either getting beat up by a heel wrestler, if some good wrestler's playing him, or he's getting beat up by a good wrestler if some heel wrestler plays him. So Booker T said, it's a never-ending saga. So you gotta hand it to the man. Well, you know what, Booker T, you're right, Mike today said. Father Yule in every skilled wrestling business past to now has either done him in that way. But we'll see what he has to say here today on NXT. Mike today said, well, Jim Ross says, Father Yule, Grandfather Cold, only comes around once a year, at least for Western Christendom, and once at the beginning of the year for Eastern Christendom, but that's about it as far as him coming around. Ho, ho, ho. Happy Yule. It is I, Father Yule, Grandfather Cold, Santa Claus. Also sometimes known as the Ghost of Yule Pass. Now, I just want to say that Yule time is coming up for the Christendom folk, and I want to tell everybody that we onlook why we do Yule, why folks in Christendom do Yule, is to onlook the birth of Jesus, Son of God, the King of Kings, the Kaiser of Kaiser, the light in the way, the teacher, the healer, and the freer. The right hand of God, the Aldeling of Rest. He's got a lot, the Son of God, he's got a lot of nicknames, a lot of ranks, and onlook for every one of them. Now I know at the end of the day, cannot do any of those things that he can do. He healed the sick and the wounded and the handicapped. He taught folks how to love and how to forgive and how to get along. I can do that. He gave up his sin. He yielded his life up for sin, so we could all get to heaven smoothly through God and through Jesus. I can't do that, but I can give like Jesus could give. I could show love and kindness the same way that Jesus showed love and kindness to folks when he was alive. So yeah, I'm doing my work to show love and onlook and worship Jesus. And so many folks out there, either they scathe Father Yule, Grandfather Cold, and say, I don't have anything to do with Yule. Yeah, they're right. Now, what a lot of folks don't know is that they say that I took Yule away from Jesus, and I didn't do that. That's one shameful thing that I don't like. See, that's the one scathing I just cannot stand. It's folks saying, Father Yule, you're the one who took Yule away from Jesus. You should be ashamed of yourself. Well, I didn't take Yule from Jesus. I never did. So I don't like it when you folks say I did when I did not. Alright? So anyway, I just want to wish you all a happy Yule, happy gathering of lights, happy gathering of followership, and Shrek, Santa Claus, Father Yule, Grandfather Cole, what you want to call yourself, I think what you do to help keep Jesus' birthday Yule, to help keep the happiness and the glee of Jesus' birthday alive, I think by showing love and kindness, you are showing the same love and kindness that Jesus showed folks when he was alive, and you give the same way Jesus gives. Now it's true that Jesus did a whole lot more things than you ever did, a lot more things than you did. But you didn't take you away from Jesus. You want to know who took you away from Jesus? No one. The grounds to why Jesus can't... Look, you ever go outside around Christendom worship houses and they have the Jesus birth scene out, with Mary and Joseph and Jesus and, and the wise men when they got there. They're out, out in Christendom worship houses. And if folks from other worships are so against Jesus and feel irked or angered when they see Jesus and they don't believe in him or worship him, then how do you think they put up with that? I think Santa says that they learned worshipful dealings, to wrestlily deal and onlook someone's else right to worship and what their beliefs with that worship is, So I think they just get along to get along, So there. Jesus is around Yule time. You didn't take Yule away from Jesus. So, there you are again, Shrek. I had onlook for you, but now whatever onlook I had is gone. You're kissing up to this fake, to this folklore, Father Yule, Grandfather Cold, whatever the fuck he wants to call himself. And Shrek, I know I'm going to get back my TWF Pennsylvania Reich winnings. And you are never ever going to be as a good TWF Pennsylvania Reich fighter like myself. Is that right, Gumford? That you think you make a greater TWF Pennsylvania Reich fighter than me, huh? Well, let's see, Gumfer. At least folks like me, at least I show folks some kind of onlook. I don't come out and behave like I'm God's gift to wrestling like you do, and think you're the world's greatest wrestler, the world's greatest fighter, the world's greatest overstar, whatever you want to call yourself. You know what, Gumford? Shrek is right. If you want onlook, you gotta give onlook. And going around saying that you are God's gift to skilled wrestling, well, you got a high belief of yourself. But I think you need to know that even though, yes, you're a good wrestler, you're a great wrestler, a great fighter, you're not greater than anyone else. And that's why and if you don't stop thinking that way, you're not going to get back on the good list. I don't care if I'm on some sinful, unlawful, wicked, evil list. It's all made up. The only list is God and Jesus' list. Yeah. And who do you think I get it? Who do you think gives it to me? God and Jesus. So you're a good man, Gumper, but you need to stop thinking you're greater than everyone else, because you're not. Have a happy Yule. Well, don't say Father Yule never. Don't say that Father Yule or Grandfather Cold never ever had to scathe someone or give them a little truth. Mike today says, because I think that's something for Gumford. I think that is something for Gumford. Shit! Knocked down a fight lord by mistake. Wakefulness doesn't want to hold anyone up. You know, Mike today says, so I think that, would you really think Gumford's going to listen to anything that Father Yule had to say? Mike today says, no, I hardly doubt it, Jim Ross says. He'll still go on thinking he's the world's greatest, that he's greater than everyone else, and that he's God's gift to skilled wrestling, Jim Ross says. Well, Booker T said, at the end of the day, if Gumford wants to believe he's the greatest wrestler, the greatest fighter out there, who am I to say, who can I say he's wrong about that or not? So, Gumford, you want to show that you're the world's greatest wrestler, greatest fighter, greatest overstar? Well, you get to fight Shrak. Shrak puts his TWF Pennsylvania Reich winnings on stake here today on NXT. Meaning, well, it looks like that we just heard from John Bradshaw Latefield, the main overseer of the TWF. Now we got the Fight Lord in the ring. This match is for the TWF Pennsylvania Reich winnings. First, he is Gumford, and he is the TWF Pennsylvania Reich fighter, Shrak. Ding, ding, ding. Well, here comes Shrak now. Shrak wanted to come at Gumford, and Shrak splashed it and knocked down Gumford. Now Shrak just body slammed Gumford. Mike today says Shrak was a former world heavyweight fighter in the TWF at one time. Mike today says, well, Jim Ross said it is true that Shrak was the former world heavyweight fighter. He came from the Vinlander Frith Middle. You know, and he might not be everyone's beloved, you know, DreamWorks self, but he's one hell of a good wrestler, Jim Ross says. 1, 2 and a kick out. I tell you what, Booker T says, he's not as a good wrestler as Gumford is. He's not a good fighter like Gumford is. And sadly, he's going to lose the TWF Pennsylvania Reich winnings to Gumford, formerly Walter, what do you want to call him? And right now, the ring leader, the ring fighter, Gumford, right now, taking down Shrak, Mike today says. You're right about that, Booker T. Gumford thinks he is God's gift to skilled wrestling. He believes he's the greatest wrestler, greatest fighter who ever lived. You know? Oh! But that's a belief, Jim Ross. That's a belief, Mike today says. And Gumford just threw Shrak out of the ring, Mike today says. Well, Jim Ross says, Booker T, Gumford can think whatever he wants to think about himself. He has that right, that freedom. But there's no truth to back it up that he's the greatest wrestler out there. And will he win back to TWF Pennsylvania Reich winnings for a 2nd time, Jim Ross says. Hey, we'll see if he does it right now, Booker T said. He's going to put Shrak in the sleeper, and I don't think even an ogre can get out of that one, Booker T says. Right now, Shrak's in a bind right now. Will Shrak yield to Gumford here today on NXT? Mike today says, it looks like he did. Ding, ding. Here is your winner. Looks like he did, Jim Ross says. Here is your winner and the new TWF Pennsylvania Reich fighter, Gumford. And Gumford has beat Shrak here today on NXT. You know. And now Gumford is now a 2-time TWF Pennsylvania Reich fighter. You know, Jim Ross says. Jim Ross says. That's right, Mike today says. He's a 2-time TWF Pennsylvania Reich fighter. He beat Shrak here today on NXT. And now Gumford's 2-diff run as TWF, Pennsylvania Reich fighter begins now. Well, I could tell you, right now, I could tell you right now, it's not going to work out so good for, so good for Shrek. But Gunther got a big win over him. So at the end of the day, at the end of the day, I'm truly happy about that one. Booker T says. Alright, Mike Today said, take it away, Joey Styles. Thank you, Mike Today and Jim Ross. I'm going to be talking with Gunther here today on NXT. So, you are now the two-time TWF Pennsylvania Reich fighter. Yeah, I got back to TWF Pennsylvania Reich winnings. That strap from Shrek. That ogre is besmirched the TWF Pennsylvania Reich winnings, and now I got it back now. And so I don't think anyone is man enough or woman enough to take this off of me. Well, I can name a lot of folks, Gunther, or Gumford, or Walter. I can name a lot of folks that would think they're man enough or woman enough. I don't think so, Joey Styles. Like I said, I am the greatest wrestler, greatest fighter. I am God's gift to skilled wrestling. And I bring the onlooking class back to skilled wrestling. Something that Shrek, that ogre, that's one thing he could never do. Well, that's my talk with Gunther. Back to you, Mike Today and Jim Ross. Well, thank you, Joey Styles, for talking with Gunther here today on NXT. And it is all the time we've got here for NXT. I, Mike Today, with Jim Ross and Booker T. We hope you like NXT, and we'll see you tomorrow for Dynamite or Mike.